I've been known for coming up with some pretty crazy contraptions, and I may have just outdone myself with this one. We're going to talk about what it is and the surprising sources that inspired it. And you already know I wouldn't be bringing it to you if it didn't catch piles of nice bass. Stick around, we're going to talk all about it.
Oh, there we go. There we go. That's not a... Got him. There we go, like I said. And that's a nice one.
Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing. And if you've been around this channel for any length of time, you already know that I like to tinker with my baits. I'm always trying to come up with new ways to present my lure to those bass. I want to push the limits of what I'm doing every single time I head out to the water. And I came up with a contraption here lately that's a complete departure from anything I've ever done. And it's got a surprising source. This guy right here, the Alabama rig, the umbrella rig, A-rig, chandelier rig, whatever you want to call it. In Mississippi, I can fish these pretty much how I want to. There are no restrictions. I can use all 5 hooks. But the problem with these is, even though they're great at getting bass to bite, especially when they're feeling finicky, they're heavily regulated in a lot of states. Some places you can have 3 hooks, some places you can only have 2, and in some places, like Vermont, they are outlawed completely. So the question becomes, how can we use something like an Alabama rig? How can we come up with same type of presentation, a small bait ball that really gets those bass fired up without having to deal with the drawbacks of the regulations and having 5 hooks? Well, inspiration really struck here recently. I watch Marling Baits, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do. And he did a video recently about, well, a crazy spinnerbait that had an overspin, an underspin, a tailspin, and all these different spinners on it. It looked like something that you would see on an AI picture, right? If you ask ChatGPT to give you an image of a spinnerbait or something like that, that's what it would come up with. But I thought when I saw that, there's something there that I can work with. And again, I come up with some crazy things, try to do some different things, like coming up with putting a spinnerbait on a little swim jig here. This is just a little beetle spin blade, and you can buy these blades by themselves or whatever, but you can clip it on to a swim bait. It's a bigger presentation than a beetle spin. It's not quite as heavy duty as a spinnerbait, but it works well. I catch a lot of fish doing that. So thinking with that in mind, I came up with this goofy thing right here. And I'm calling it the Dum Dum rig. It is a beetle spin blade on an underspin with just a small, that is a Rapala Crush City Mayor swim bait on there. And I think it's just the, I think that's the 2.5. It might be 3-inch, but I'm pretty sure that's 2.5, but that's all that is. It's an underspin with that on there. Now, the great thing about these things, and you can see here by the underwater footage, they look amazing underwater. And there is one key difference between that and the good old spinnerbait. Now, I love a good old spinnerbait. These things catch giants for me. But there's a fatal flaw when it comes to a spinnerbait that we always have to address. That's the hook placement. The hook being down here at the bottom. Well, if you get a bass that strikes a blade or short strikes it, you have to put a stinger hook on there or do something else to try to account for the bass short striking your lure. Now, if you notice something in that underwater footage, you notice this, the hook is the farthest point back. That's the part that the bass is going to strike. So I have some of the benefits of an Alabama rig. I've got a little bit extra spin, a little bit extra thump, a little bit extra bling that attract those bass, making it think it's a small bait ball. And I also have the hook all the way in the back, which means I'm not going to get short strikes. And taking it out on the water and trying it out, that has certainly been the case. I wanted to try it out for a few times before I made a video just to make sure that it was rock solid, that it actually worked as good as I thought it would. And you know what? It absolutely did. Last few times I've taken it out to the water and tried to play around with it, well, I've been catching some pretty good fish with it.
Got him. Oh, he popped off. Dadgummit. There we go. That's not a... Oh, I got him good. Look at that. Not even a pound. 3/4 of a pound. But look at that. The goofy, funky thing, whatever we're calling it. Yeah. It sure does. We're going to call it half a pound. There you go, little dude. Have a nice one. Thank you for biting my whatever this is. Because he saw me catching fish. Oh, there we go. Boy, he choked that. He chased it in and choked it. Still not the biggest, but it's bigger than it was. They're getting bigger in size. Boy, he went after that one. He had it all the way down. Not quite 3/4 of a pound, but happy to have it. All right, let's see if we can't continue this tradition of catching small fish.
So, not the hugest fish, but it was still a great proof of concept. And the thing about it is the settings that I used whenever I was throwing that lure. I did a video here recently about fishing heavily pressured waters, about being able to locate the waters that nobody else is using and target those. Well, the wife and I went back to that pocket I talked about in that video, and I could tell few other anglers had been in there. Those fish seemed like they were a little bit beat up. Now, they were biting, and you can see here that the wife was still catching the bigs. She's still catching really nice fish. This fish here was almost 4 pounds.
You got a fish. No, you don't. Look at the boat. Look at it going to the right. Look at.
No, it is not. It is.
It's not bad. You got a fish. Oh, hang on. That's a good fish. Hang on. That's a big fish. But hang on. Don't lift it. Don't lift it. Hang on. Get over here. That is a giant, honey. That is another. Look at you. That is another giant. He's got one bad eye.
Oh, he does have a bad eye.
That, my honey.
Probably a 2.5, 3.
Oh no. This is probably 4 or more.
Really?
This is maybe a little bit bigger than one you found the other day.
Oh.
Hang on. You got him just so.
Did I get him right?
Oh yeah, you had him right in the roof of the mouth. He wasn't going anywhere. But I gotta. Come on now.
You need help?
There we go. I got him.
Okay.
That fish is probably close to 4 pounds.
Nice.
Better than 3. I'm going to say better than 3. That's amazing, honey.
That is amazing.
We've been catching some toads.
You recorded?
Yeah, there you go. There she goes.
Yep.
Beautiful. Awesome. Let's hope that's the smallest one today.
They weren't as really engaged. They were a lot more hesitant. So We even shifted gears a little bit. Rather than going with poppers and whatnot, we tried some different approaches, wacky rigs, Waco rigs, but even still, they were a little bit tepid. And that's what gave me the idea that it might be time to try this guy out. And, it worked. It actually worked. I started getting some bites. We went to other lakes beyond the big lake just to see, everybody throws a good old spinnerbait. Let's see if we throw a variation of that spinnerbait, what's going to happen. And I was able to catch 2.5 pound bass. So those bass can really be turned on by that type of presentation. So on those days, whenever you're feeling like that you're not getting the attention that you want, like I said, it's a very simple setup. It's just a beetle spin blade. You can buy these blades. You don't even have to buy the beetle spin. I think Arky and some other companies make just that clip-on blade and on an underspin, right? I like the one with the willow blade. I like the ones that have a little bit of an extension from the bottom, because to me, the ones that are too close, the underspins that are too close, have a tendency to get gummed up in that blade too much, and it can affect this swim bait. Spinner blade will come all the way up there, and it will affect how that bait works in the water. So I like ones that actually have a little bit longer wire to them. But for the purposes that I was using, this thing worked great. Like I said, you see here in the underwater footage, you can see just exactly how it's swimming. It's got a really nice swim to it. It even has a little bit of roll in the body, which I feel helps draw those fish in. It's something that's easy to do. It's something that's easy for you to try. So if you've got the parts, and I'm pretty sure you do, everybody's got beetle spins, everybody's got a few underspins lying around. So you can assemble this from things you already have, which is the way that I like to do it. I always like to make sure that the things I come up with can be done with the things that I already have available. That just makes it easier. And this is really, really super effective. I want you to give it a try, and I want you to let me know what you think about it. So there you have it. The Dum Dum Rig, my latest goofy creation that just catches fish. It's simple to do, and it works in a bunch of different situations, whether it's clear water, whether you've got overcast skies, or whether you've got bluebird skies and maybe some wind. Try it out. I really think you're going to like this presentation, especially if you can't throw an Alabama rig in your area. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.